Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm here today in the northern Alberta boreal forest. So this particular location is in the, I guess it would be in the kind of the oil sands region of northeastern Alberta. And I just wanted to show kind of a black spruce muskeg type environment here. And as you can see, there's still a little snow on the ground. It's late April. So we're kind of very early spring here, although it's been a cool spring. So you can see there's still some snow on the ground, but we have a lot of black spruce. There's a little tamarack mixed in, and a little bit of jack pine as well. But this is kind of the classic boreal forest muskeg kind of environment here. So I just wanted to kind of share that. And you can see the ground is very, very wet and spongy, and the moss and Labrador tea that you see right here, which is actually a member of the rhododendron family. And you can see here the leaves here. I'll try to get a little better idea here. Right there. If we focus, there we go. So they're an evergreen broadleaf plant. Maybe against the snow a little better, as you can see there. So late winter, early spring, they haven't really kind of come out, and they kind of get this kind of sad look in the winter, as rhododendrons do in our area as well. They don't necessarily like the cold, I guess, as much, but these guys will get green and look quite nice on the forest floor, and they are very common in this type of environment. It's a very wet, mossy area. But you can see the black spruce here, all in the background here, and these ones have that kind of classic shape where it's a little wider at the very top. They're skinny, they're small, and they're stunted, because this area would be considered a low nutrient environment that they're in. But it's what's really impressive is the moss and lichen on the forest floor, and the amount of lichen in the branches of these black spruce. They are just covered, as you can see. And one of the big, I guess, kind of recyclers here would be the fires. Summertime fires, pretty common through the area, and they would kind of reset some of these areas. Logging or any of that sort of stuff wouldn't be a big kind of thing to restart some of the forests around here, because obviously it's kind of a low value timber. But we'll take a closer look at some of the needles of the black spruce, and there are white spruce in this area too, but this particular area is pretty much exclusively black spruce. And if we can get a good focus, there we go. And you can see that the needles are quite short, and otherwise quite similar to a white spruce, but the shortness of these needles is definitely a black spruce trait. And I'm going to see if I can find a cone, because they're a little smaller and a little rounder than the white spruce, and just like I guess the tree itself, a little bit smaller than the white spruce as well. But I'm going to look for a different location. There's some really impressive undergrowth of moss and lichen. So I'll just run to another location here quick. So I'm in an area here that's a little bit higher and a little drier, and just an example of a jack pine. You can see the bark is quite a bit different than a lodgepole pine. This is a little scalier, and as we look up into the canopy, the shape is quite a bit different than a lodgepole pine. And I'll show a branch here, another one, and you can see that It's a 2-needle group. Just let me find the branch here. Here we go. So we can see that just like a lodgepole pine, if we focus, it's a 2-needle group. Let's see if we can pick something apart here. Yeah, you can kind of see that. But something interesting about the cones, at least on this specimen here, they have a little curve on the top. I don't think I've seen that before. So I'm not sure if that is something common or something unique to this tree or to this branch, if there's some sort of issue there. But kind of interesting just how the jack pine differs from the lodgepole. It's fairly close relative as far as I know. So that is, I guess, the trunk. It's a little hard to see all the way up there, but that's a jack pine there. And here's a kind of another interesting area of the forest floor, and I just wanted to show these lichen here and just the incredible shape and amount of them here. It's really quite interesting. And I'll try and get fairly close here so you can see the little bit of the structure there. It's almost like puffy. Really interesting. Amongst the moss as well, and of course the Labrador tea. It's everywhere. But just a really interesting area with the mix of the moss and the lichen, and of course the small skinny black spruce that are pretty much everywhere in this. It's very dense and kind of an even age stand. May have had a fire many years ago, and a lot of the trees here appear to be similar age, and hasn't reached its peak yet. So okay, this is just a little distance away, and as you can see, it's a pretty good example. There is just an incredible moss lichen community on the forest floor here, and we even have bearberry and moss, the kind of the feather moss, several different varieties, but just kind of incredible. And it's very soft. When you step in this area, you sink 6 or 8 inches. It's a very wet environment, as you can see. And actually here we have a jack pine branch with cones, and you can see there is some differences with the lodgepole, and when you see them, you can definitely tell a difference. However, I believe they do interbreed and hybridize regularly, just like the Engelmann and white spruce do. And so sometimes you get mixes, but over in the eastern Alberta, northern Alberta here, these would be pure jack pine stands here. This particular area doesn't have a lot, and it's mostly dominated by the spruce, but just wanted to kind of highlight how interesting even kind of the classic muskeg that you see in this area can be. It doesn't look very productive, but when you see how much variety and the kind of lushness of the forest floor here, and I think that it would come out even more later in the spring or summer, which I may try to get a video in this area at that time as well. But just kind of very interesting. And as you can see, here's another example of a black spruce branch, and just the characteristic very short needles compared to other spruces in this area. So thank you for joining me. I guess I'll end the video there. Just kind of an area that maybe is a little underappreciated, that needs a little more attention. And I'd like to do a couple more videos in this area, highlighting some of the tamarack and the jack pine areas, some of the higher or drier, kind of more well-drained areas, and see what grows on the forest floor there as well. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.